Okay, we are live. Good afternoon, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to this talk show webinar organized by Surat Municipal Corporation as part of Vikas Sapath 2025. Vikas Sapath is a celebration of India's developmental progress, a platform to showcase how innovation, technology, and citizen participation are shaping New India. Under the visionary leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi and the dynamic guidance of Honorable Chief Minister Shri Bhupendra Patel, Gujarat has declared year 2025 as Year of Urban Development. This year marks a renewed focus on future ready, sustainable, and semi resilient cities, cities that not only adopt innovation but also create it. Surat, as one of India's most dynamic urban centers, has been at the forefront of digital governance, environmental sustainability, and technology led service delivery. When we speak of Atmanirbhar Bharat, we are talking about a vision where India builds its own solutions, nurtures local talent, and empowers startup to become global leaders. So let me introduce the panelists today. Uh, the Deputy Commissioner Sri Dinesh Gurav sir was supposed to join us. He is a Deputy Commissioner of Surat Municipal Corporation looking after health, education and revenue departments. But due to some urgent work, he is not able to join us. We have Mr. Sukhbir Singh, who is Innovation Strategy Leader at Honeywell. Formerly, he led the innovation under Smart Cities mission. He helped to conceptualize the City Innovation Exchange and led challenges like Transport for All and India Clean Air Challenge. We have Ms. Dr. Shweta Shah, who is an associate professor at SVNIT Surat. She is a former head of Ashine Incubator, which is operational at SVNIT Surat. She has she has championed startup incubation and research-led innovations within academia. We have Ms. Isha Bhagat, who is Chief Operating Officer at Stembotics, who is promoting AI, robotics, and coding education among students, nurturing young innovators. We have Mr. Darshan Kumar Pandit, who is a founder and principal engineer at Synchronous Drives. His MSME exemplifies Swadeshi manufacturing and indigenous technologies. We also have Mr. Hardik Waghani, founder Agrobits Green Ventures Private Limited. He focuses on sustainability, agri innovation, and circular economy. And I am Jigar Patel. I am in charge director IT and looking after the IT of Surat Municipal Corporation and the Command and Control Center. So I will invite each and every panelist to briefly talk about the initiatives they are taking up and their experience, and then we will follow some question and discussion with the panelists. So first, let me invite Mr. Sukhbir Singh to say a few words. Thank you, Sukhbir.
Thank you, Jigarji, for having me for this talk. It's once again a pleasure to reconnect with the innovation community. So I would say that India's journey in terms of innovation has been unique in terms of being bottom-up driven. Last year we crossed 1 lakh startups in terms of pace, and even with regards to funding, the startup fund of funds actually created a 5x multiple from the 1 lakh crore initial grant. And I would say that from the perspective cities and what the government has been doing, even from the City Innovation Exchange that we started back in 2020 during COVID, we started out about 100 plus startups in launch, and today it's crossed about 1,000 startups serving 100 cities. And even if I speak of the approaches we've taken in terms of innovation challenges, we've seen a lot in terms of funding coming through. Transport for All awarded 2 crores to about 10 startups to solve the problem of digital transport. The Clean Air Challenge, in fact, saw a number of good startups with patented solutions come up, especially in defense. And I would say even transitioning in the private sector at Honeywell, where I primarily look at surveillance, we see a lot of exciting startups, especially in the deep tech space, and we I see a lot of energy even with ISC, where we currently support about close to 10 startups. So yeah, the ecosystem is full of energy, and it's really good to see the journey and pace that is taken in the past 5 years or so.
Thank you, Sukhbir, for the insights. I want to ask you that how does India's innovation landscape compare globally, especially in converting public challenges into some scalable solutions?
Right. So to see India's innovation in context, I would just share some numbers when we were back there working. So almost 30,000 startups so that's almost 40% of the total startups were just in 100 cities, and out of that, further 25,000 startups in just 10 cities. So when I say in terms of global comparison, we do match the vibrance and scale of global hotbeds such as Tel Aviv, San Francisco, and Shenzhen. And in fact, with response to the recent global shifts, even we see Indian semiconductor startups actually take up the challenge. When it comes to converting public challenges to scale solutions, we must understand that innovation requires management of technical risk and business model risks. And public challenges often have a large amount of risk. And that's where we see a need for support. In that sense, Indian cities have been coming forward in consuming innovation. Where we see sort of a barrier and maybe a challenge for future is additional modalities where these innovations can be scaled up. To quote just one example, we saw a number of AI startups enter the smart city space, and 12, almost 10 to 12 cities were able to test out those pilots. And then, of course, there were modalities that were needed. So to sum it up, innovation, demand and supply is there. What we need is modalities where that demand and supply can meet, and that mechanism which creates trust between innovation creators such as startups and even universities for that matter, and consumers such as cities. We need a better process for them to work together.
Right. So I think you have already answered my second question, but I just want to ask that question if you need to add something. So I want to ask that what are your expectations from the government to ensure smoother collaboration between the startup corporates and the city administrator?
Yeah, thank you, Jagari. That's a question really that's of my personal interest. I mean, there are three ways to look at it, right? What the government can do today, then what's possible tomorrow, and then what does the future look like, right? Just on today, especially with the example of Surat, which launched its own incubator, and in fact, startups out of that incubator work with Surat Smart City. Today's cities can start by opening up partnerships with incubators and universities, and most of them have a very good ecosystem of incubators. I've seen Pune, I've seen Delhi NCR, Surat, Ahmedabad. Um, and going further, something that they can do today is open up problem statements and public assets. A lot of the time, startups just want to work with public assets, and they don't know how to navigate these processes. And even problem statements excite them. In fact, when I speak to startups on Six, they were most excited about having problem statements from cities visible to them. Then, what can happen in the probably the near term, and something which are more replicable, would be our own, homegrown Desi example, right? So, in fact, the Smart Auto guidelines, which allowed for demonstration and pilots of startups, Gujarat Urja Vikas Nigam Limited actually adopted that 20 lakh pilot concept. Something that's out of state also is Maharashtra recently, uh, in August, said that every department in the state needs to set aside 0.5% of its budget for R&D support and startup innovation. And that could be dilutive, non-dilutive capital. It could be pilot grants. So that's something that is worth exploring. And in fact, even if we could learn vocabulary, right? which allows direct procurements with 60 lakhs from startups registered with the state startup portal. And just yesterday, Delhi announced a 50 lakh grant. So we see these things now coming up, and probably the government needs to look at what can be done that most cities and states start to emulate these sort of examples. And when I say when you mention about collaboration, what we saw is that it's easy to demonstrate innovation. I mean, I'm not saying that's easy, but there's a lot of hard work that goes into it. But scale ups are where we see a lot of innovation not working through. And when it comes to mature profit-making companies, they are willing to support scale ups. Because if you do any sort of physical pilots, right? If you look at waste management or you look at sustainability or energy, the ticket size is almost 50 lakhs to 1 crore. And in that sense, mature companies could use R&D incentives and carve out, say, from an incentive perspective. These are the nature of what the US does or maybe China does. And also, incentivizing consortiums that can be formed with startups. Right, a lot of the times we work with a lot of startups that we work with Series and Honeywell, but the startups end up being in the background, and so it's not really an incentive for us to look at startups and mature companies differently. But definitely, if those sort of incentives come through, we'll see more startups partnering with mature companies to solve problems, and in fact, it's actually a net positive for job creation, right? Yeah, that's my wish list. Uh,
Right, yeah, I still remember discussing with you regarding the CIX and creating a sandbox environment for the startups at the city level and the state level, so that probably the startups can actually work on the real problems the city authorities face. And to some extent, we were able to do it. You had a great contribution to the success of the CIX. Thank you, Sukhbir. And now we move on to Ms. Isha Bhagat, who is from the Stambotics. And I request Ms. Isha Bhagat to say a few words. Thank you.
Hello. So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Jigarji, for having me today for representing Stembotics. So, the organization which is representing a simple but the powerful belief that India's future lies in the hands of its young innovators. So, if I can say about our journey at Stembotics, so we have started with a very simple vision of STEM education. STEM education, that means science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So we have started to become STEM education accessible, experiential, and the deeply rooted into the real world problem solving. So we have started with the small initiative, introduce robotics and the coding to the school students, has today evolved into the national movement and empowering learners across the schools, colleges, universities through the structured programs in the future ready technologies like artificial intelligence, robotics, IoT, drone technology, augmented reality, virtual reality, etc. So, as a co-founder and the CEO, I have had the privilege to witness how curiosity transform into the innovation when they are nurtured with the right ecosystem. So we are basically at Stembotics. We have aligned with the follow progression from the beginner level to the intermediate level to the advanced level of the technologies who are involved in solving the real world problems. So it's not just about building the robots, but it's about building a mindset of creation, critical thinking, and the self reliance for the future, as we can say. So, as at Stembotics, we align deeply with the vision of Make in India and the Atmanirbhar Bharat. So, we design and manufacture our learning kits entirely in the India only for concept from concept to creation, ensuring that innovation is not just taught but made here. And through our collaboration with the academic institution and the local governments, we are helping to create the generation of homegrown innovators who think globally but they are building the locally. So India is a remarkable inflection point right now. So the ecosystem for innovation is stronger than ever. So, with the convergence of policy, talent, and technology driving the next wave of growth. So, our experience has shown us that When young minds are given the freedom to explore, experiment, and fail forward, innovation follows naturally. So, as we look ahead, our mission remains the clear to make India not just a consumer of technology, but the creators of it. So, thank you for the Stembotics given this opportunity to introduce itself.
Thank you, Isha. Following up, I think very basic question that to make the India future ready for innovation workforce, how organizations like Stembotics can contribute?
So, initiatives like Stembotics are shaping India's future ready innovation workforce by bridging the gap between classroom learning and the real world applications, we can say that. So, through a structured progression from the foundational level or the beginner level to the advanced level, and we are at the advanced level, we are giving the knowledge about the future ready technologies like I've already earlier mentioned that artificial intelligence, robotics, IoT, augmented reality. So, in a way, we are helping students to move from being users of technology to the creators of it. So, by promoting hands on learning, critical thinking, and the indigenous design through the Make in India STEM kits, we are cultivating a generation that is not only technically skilled but also entrepreneurial and the innovation driven. So, which is also perfectly aligned with the India's vision for Atmanirbhar Bharat and the Industry 4.0.
So just to add one follow-up question that how you make it more, how you make students competitive means what are the initiatives you take to make them compete with the other people from India as well as the globe.
So, as an outcome, we are also felicitating students and we are making them take part into the several competitions. So, if you can say about several robotics competition, you are known about the WSRO. So, we are giving the platform to the students as an outcome of our organization or our curriculum alignment that they can participate into such competitions and make their presence for them. And if we are talking about the scenario or example of Surat Municipal Corporation itself, we have already engaged with this woman school student over there, and we have established AI and robotics lab over there. This year, the students of these schools have participated in the regional competition. They have won. Some of the teams have won and reached the national level, and one of the team has already won and taking part into the international. So that's why they are making themselves available for the competing with the each other at the this level.
Thank you very much, Isha. Thank you for the insightful words. And let us now move to Mr. Darshan Kumar Pandit and let's get some knowledge about EVs. Thank you, Darshan. Please.
Yeah, namaste everyone. At Synchronous Drives and Inverters, we are a deep tech EV startup incubated at Asia and SVNIT as well as FIT IIT Delhi. And we are developing innovative electric vehicle motor controllers and power electronics software for automotive industry. For simplicity, we are trying to build the world's most efficient electric vehicle in India. Right here in Surat, we already have one prototype running in the streets of Surat, and we are also trying to build world's first rare earth-free electric vehicle, which aligns with Atmanirbhar Swadeshi Bharat mission. I am Darshan Kumar Pandit. I am an alumnus of IIT Delhi, and what where we started is like we were writing a lot of programs for like electric vehicles globally, right from Tesla, Toyota, Tata, Mercedes Benz, and all. And there were some life situations which led me to wonder that okay, we are doing this for all these automotive companies, and our own country is sort of lagging behind in the domain, while at the same time we are getting a lot of dependency on imports from Europe and Chinese companies in this domain, just like the mobile phones that we use that you're holding right now in your hand. This technology is being imported, mostly the hardware as well as software, and that's where we are trying to make a difference. So that's where we got started with synchronous drives and inverters. And when we got started, we understood that electric vehicle demands are increasingly getting popular in India. And in order to get the right economical benefits of EVs, India needs to accelerate the development of domestic supply chain, something which the government is also realizing right now, and it's promoting Atmanirbhar Swadeshi supply chain and a lot of startups in the domain. Currently, the net localization levels, the made in India electric vehicle components, they are very low, and this results into a huge majority of imports from our neighborhood countries like China, as well as some parts Europe. And there are some companies who are trying to assemble in India, but still there is a dependency. Indian MSMEs are facing huge challenges while trying to compete with the foreign players in this domain. There is a huge market gap in the field of power electronics and electric vehicle components. There is import dependency, as I already mentioned, and there is a stiff competition in terms of economics and pricing when it comes to the EVs. And of course the complexity is there. It's a deep tech. It requires years and years of research in order to build electric vehicles. So that's there. The market is growing, and India is becoming a world's leading economy along with the market. And that is where we are trying to make a difference by having innovative converters, inverters, the brain and heart of electric vehicle, the operating system in terms of software, everything we are trying to build in India. And at the same time, we are trying to bring innovation by increasing efficiency, making things compact, smaller, better, so that we can lead the world in the domain. And we are also building something which is rare earth free, so that like we can reduce import dependency of the components in the domain. So that's all that we are trying to do. And yeah, we are grateful to SMC for creating such kind of forums and allowing us with the platform to present our views as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Darshanji. There's something which I want to ask that being an MSME and we want to understand what are those factors which keeps you going and keep innovating and those are those things which are key for you and what are those challenges which are there in innovation and manufacturing. So there
Yeah,
are two parts. So you can address it whichever you want to answer first.
I can get started with challenges first and the enablers, the initiatives by the government, of course. Any MSM is not just ours, faces a number of challenges such as funding, infrastructure. There is, when it comes to electric vehicles, there is a shortage of skilled labor. India currently requires something in terms of labor, which is in between mechanic and electrician throughout the nation, and that is there is a huge gap. That needs to be filled up. Along with that, MSMEs face a lot of complex regulation. Companies are just new; they're starting up, and then there you have to do GST every month, and also these regulations are a challenge. There is intense competition from China in terms of pricing, so that also we have to, like another panelist said, we have to balance the innovation along with the competition and the business. And then there are general challenges like payment delays. People want to deal in cash and marketing, branding, and all those things. In between these challenges, as a startup, everybody tries to find a way or makes one. That's what we are trying to do, and that is what our tagline is. There are a lot of enablers from government. Like we appreciate government initiatives such as this, the Vikas Saptah. Throughout Gujarat, we are celebrating. Last month there was a startup conclave by government of Gujarat where we got an opportunity to participate, and there were like more than 100, 200 startups to interact with. It was a nice platform by the government, and probably in January there is Vibrant Gujarat Summit also happening. There are Startup India events at national level. So all these they pump up the spirits of all the MSMEs and startups. And along with that, the ecosystem is also building up. The government is creating incubation centers and startup meets and all, so which is also good. Any company, anybody can start a company, rent a space in like in Surat there is Atal Innovation Center, where you can almost for 2 to 3 thousand rupees start an office. So government has huge support if you want to start your own company. There is Swadeshi Abhiyan, of course. Government wants us to do something, overcome these challenges, and build for India, build a better India by the year 2024, 2047. There are ministries who are also actively trying to improve things. For example, MSME itself launched MSME hackathon and is identifying all the companies and enabling them financially as well as resource wise. We are also in touch with MIT, Ministry of Electronics and IT, and there is an India semiconductor mission launched by them along with the Chip to Startup program. And we are getting some software approvals from them. We are in the process of applying via design linked incentives. So as a startup, we don't have funding to buy lakhs and crores of softwares, but via this government initiatives such as MIT's ELI scheme, it is possible for us to still get expensive softwares and design our own circuit boards, our own semiconductors also, of course, at some point in future. So these are really great initiatives. Government is really trying to push hard, and let us all take advantage of this as MSMEs, as startup, whatever part we can do in order to build a Viksit Bharat by 2024, 2047.
Thank you, and glad to hear that the efforts of government are also recognized. A small thing which we want to ask is that what are the couple of reforms you would expect from government for MSME to participate, to make it more simpler and make it more easier for the innovation?
Yeah, so there are two, three, like government is already actively trying to do things, so that is of course there. But there are two, three suggestions. So one is to speed up the timelines. There are funding schemes which are floated by government, and they are relatively slow because the system is kind of inefficient, and that is somewhere government can focus on. Second is sometimes there are middlemen who come between government and the startups. Now, government has access to MSME portals, Startup India website, and government can directly approach the startups with different schemes via the help of various government employees such as IAS officers or university professors who can ensure that there is no financial mismanagement. So yeah, there are any additional middlemen who are coming in that can be eliminated. So there can be simplicity. Then ease of doing business can be also improved further by allowing somewhat relaxations for the startup to test their prototypes instead of final products which require rigorous certifications and compliances. And lastly, maybe government can also motivate all the universities to have some kind of weekend or monthly hackathons so that plenty of innovators get encouragement to build their own MSME ventures and startups. So that might be some of the few areas that can be improved.
Thank you, Mr. Darshan. We'll surely try that the suggestions reaches to the concerned person and some actionable uh, decisions are taken in this direction. So moving to Mr. Hardik Wagani, who is working in agri-tech. Hardik भाई, आप
यस
agri-tech में काम
यस
करते हैं, थोड़ा
यस
हमको
सर।
बताइए कि आप क्या करते हैं, प्लीज।
हेलो सर, नमस्ते। एग्रोबिट स्क्रीन वेंचर प्राइवेट लिमिटेड जो है, वो एक एग्रीकल्चर वेस्ट को वेल्थ में कन्वर्ट करता है। जैसे कि एज अ फार्मर मैंने नवसारी एग्रीकल्चर यूनिवर्सिटी से पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट हूँ। मुझे पता चला कि साउथ रीजन जहाँ पे बनाना प्लांटेशन बहुत होता है। तो आफ्टर कल्टीवेशन ऑफ बनाना, उसके जो पेड़ रहते हैं वो किसी काम के नहीं है। फार्मर को इसी साल की बात करें, अभी ये महीने की, तो फार्मर को 10 रुपये पर केजी बनाना सेल करना पड़ रहा है। तो जितना बनाना निकलता है उससे ज़्यादा तो उसको निकालने का, स्टेम निकालने का खर्चा लगता है। तो हमने एक ऐसा यूनिट डेवलप किया, ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलप की, उसमें से हमने पूरा जो स्टैम्प आता है उसको यूटिलाइज किया। जैसे कि बनाना स्टेम्प का प्रोसेस करके उसमें से फाइबर निकाला, उसमें से ऑर्गेनिक सैनिटरी पैड बनाए, उसका जो लिक्विड निकलता है उसमें से ऑर्गेनिक फर्टिलाइजर हमने बनाया, उसका जो वेस्ट निकलता है उसमें से हमने ऑर्गेनिक पेपर बनाया, जो उसके बाद जो कचरा बचता है उसमें से हमने अभी रिसेंटली वेगन लेदर बनाया है। तो जो एग्रीकल्चर वेस्ट है, सबसे ज़्यादा बड़ा हेडिक है, उसको हमने पूरा कन्वर्ट करके, जैसे कि आत्म स्वच्छता भारत ले लीजिए, स्वच्छ भारत अभियान लीजिए, नारी स्वच्छता, ये सब हमारे रिलेटेड है। हमने जो सैनिटरी पैड बनाए वो प्योर ऑर्गेनिक बनाए, 100% इको फ्रेंडली बनाए, जो 180 से 190 दिन में डिकम्पोज हो जाते हैं, मिट्टी में मिल जाते हैं। तो ये पूरा हमने एग्रीकल्चर वेस्ट को वेल्थ में कन्वर्ट किया है। एग्रोबिट्स ग्रीन वेंचर प्राइवेट लिमिटेड ये रूरल एरिया डेवलप करता है, वहाँ पे अर्बन में से टेक्नोलॉजी ट्रांसफ़र की हमने, वहाँ पे एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन किया, रूरल एरिया में जो फार्मर का प्रॉब्लम है वो सोल्व किया। अर्बन एरिया में वुमेन्स जो है वो अवेयर है सैनिटरी पैड के उसमें यूज़ करने में, पर जो अर्बन रूरल एरिया है उसमें वुमेन्स को इतना आइडिया नहीं है कि सैनिटरी पैड, अभी इंडिया में 36% वुमेन सैनिटरी पैड यूज़ कर रही है सिर्फ, और वो भी सिंथेटिक वाला, ऑर्गेनिक वाले का अभी ट्रेंड नहीं चल रहा है। उनको कम रेट में कम प्राइस में जो मिल रहा है वही वुमेन्स यूज कर रही है। तो उससे सर्वाइवल कैंसर के जो रेट है वो पर ईयर इंक्रीज हो रहा है। पिछले साल जो था उससे इस साल 20% का इंक्रीमेंट हुआ है। तो ये जो है इसको हमने इसीलिए एक ऑर्गेनिक सैनिटरी पैड बनाया जिससे ये सारे प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो सके, वुमेन्स को भी हेल्पफुल हो सके। जो सिंथेटिक है वो 500-800 साल बाद डिकम्पोज होते, तो जो हमने बनाए हैं वो 180 से 190 दिन में डिकम्पोज हो जाते, तो एनवायरनमेंट को भी हेल्पफुल होते हैं। वैसे ही फार्मर के फार्म से जो स्टेम निकालने में, केले के तने निकालने में उसको प्रॉब्लम है, वो हम वहाँ से कलेक्ट करते हैं तो फार्मर को भी हेल्प होता है। जो फर्टिलाइजर वो 600-700 रुपये पर लीटर मार्केट से एग्रो सेंटर से परचेज करते, वही फर्टिलाइजर हम उनको 100, 150, 200 रुपये में उसी केले के पानी से बना के देते हैं, और वो भी प्योर ऑर्गेनिक, बिना कोई केमिकल का। तो इसी तरीके से हमने सोसाइटी को, एनवायरनमेंट को, फार्मर को और वुमन को जो है वो हेल्पफुल स्टार्टअप हमारा है।
थैंक यू हार्दिक भाई। आपने जो बताया आपका जो ग्रीन स्टार्टअप है, तो ये ग्रीन
हाँ
स्टार्टअप जो अर्बन और रूरल के जो इनोवेशन को लिंक करता है, तो
यस
उसको और स्ट्रेंथन करने के लिए हम आप कैसे और एफर्ट कर सकते हैं, थोड़ा बताइए इसके बारे में।
सर, अभी हमारा क्या चल रहा है कि हमारी टेक्नोलॉजी जो है वो हम अभी फार्मर के फार्म पे भी दे रहे हैं, ताकि जो रूरल एरिया के वुमेन्स फार्मर है उनके पास हमारा एक्सट्रैक्टर जाता है, उसी के फार्म में लगता है, वहाँ से ही स्टेम निकाल के प्रोसेस करके हम यहाँ पे प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट पे लाते हैं। वैसे ही रूरल एरिया की वुमेन्स जो है उसको सैनिटरी पैड अवेयरनेस के लिए हमारा एक टेम्पो जाता है। जैसे पहले गांव में वो अनाउंसमेंट वाला आता था, कोई सब्जी वाला है या कोई प्रोडक्ट बेचने वाला है तो वो सॉन्ग बजाता था, या तो सबको पता चलता था कि ये मार्केट में लोकल ये फेरिया है, फेरिया जिसको बोलते हैं। उसी तरीके से हमने एक वैन बनाई है, वो वैन गांव गांव घूमती है, वहाँ पे देशभक्ति के सॉन्ग बजते हैं, फिर सब लोग देखने आते हैं, छोटे बच्चे, उसकी मम्मी को बोलती है कि यार कोई टेम्पो वाला आया है, कुछ गाना बजा रहा है। हमारा टेक जो पेड़ वाला मिला हमारी प्रोडक्ट का, वो रूरल से ही ये छोटे छोटे बच्चों ने, या तो वहाँ की जो वुमेन्स है उन्होंने बोला कि ये तो पेड़ वालो है वो है, उसी हिसाब से हमने अपनी ब्रांड का नाम पेड़ वाला रख दिया है।
ओके, ये दैट्स ग्रेट टू हियर कि आपने एक लोकली मतलब इसको एक एडॉप्टेशन किया है। सो
यस
एक और फॉलोअप क्वेश्चन है आपसे कि गवर्नमेंट से आप पॉलिसीज या इंसेंटिव्स के बारे में, आपके जैसे ग्रीन स्टार्टअप को पुश करने के लिए क्या आपका सुझाव है, क्या करना चाहिए गवर्नमेंट को ग्रीन स्टार्टअप्स को प्रमोट करने के लिए?
सर, पहले तो मैं एसएमसी से ही कहूँगा कि पिछले साल जब हमारी कमिश्नर मैडम से मीटिंग हुई थी, राउंड अप टेबल मीटिंग, तभी हमने सजेशन दिया था कि हमारे जो सेंट्रीपेड है वो यहाँ पे लिया जाए। जो सिंथेटिक एसएमसी यूज़ कर रही है, कि जो भी प्राइवेट वो है वहाँ पे लगाए जा रहे पे एंड यूज़ शौचालय जो है वहाँ पे लगाए हैं हमने, तो उसकी जगह ऑर्गेनिक का आप एक बार थोड़ा सा प्रमोशन कीजिए, क्योंकि 30% वुमेन जो सेंट्रीपेड यूज़ कर रही है वो प्योर सिंथेटिक है, और उसका जो डंपिंग यार्ड है ना सर, 1,13,000 टन पर ईयर इंडिया में निकलता है सिर्फ 30% से। तो मान लीजिए अभी गवर्नमेंट सेंट्रीपेड को प्रमोट कर रही है, वो 72% पे पहुंचेगा, तो कितना बड़ा डंप यार्ड रहेगा सिर्फ सेंट्रीपेड के लिए। वैसे सेम टू सेम डायपर के लिए भी रहेगा। तो हम ये कहते हैं कि जो हमारे इको फ्रेंडली ऑर्गेनिक है उसको प्रमोट किया जाए। जन औषधि केंद्र जो है उसमें ऑर्गेनिक सेंट्रीपेड दिया जाए। जो भी गवर्नमेंट अभी 1 रुपये में, 2 रुपये में या तो 2.5 रुपये में परचेज कर रही है सिंथेटिक, उसकी जगह ऑर्गेनिक को प्रमोट किया जाए। उसकी वजह से वुमेन्स को बहुत सारे बेनिफिट है, सोसाइटी को भी है और एनवायरमेंट को भी है।
Okay, thank you for the inputs, Hardik bhai. We will try to ensure कि ये आपके inputs से वो जो जहाँ पे पहुँचाने चाहिए वहाँ तक पहुँचाने की हम कोशिश करेंगे. Thank you everyone कि आप means for your useful insights, and I think let us try to see if there are few questions which have come up from the audience and we have combined it, and we'll go in the same sequence. There is first question received for Mr. Sukhbir regarding how Honeywell is contributing to India's Make in India and the Atmanirbhar Bharat goals, particularly through local R&D manufacturing and the partnership with Indian startups and the cities.
Right. Thank you, Jagarji. That's a good question. I'll start off with the startup partnership. So Honeywell already, through our partnership with Indian Institute of Science, we do work with some deep tech startups. We do have a grants program. We also have a corporate venture capital team that looks at startups who are seeking investments. So we approach partnerships with startups in both non-dilutive and dilutive capital. Secondly, in some of our deployments, as I mentioned, we do work with startups as consortium partners, and we also keep scouting for new startups to partner with, especially as I mentioned earlier, with this in the semiconductor space and in the software AI space. So we do have a lot of room to play with AI startups. The first part of the question of how what we could do more is probably more to do with the government side. That if there is incentives to scale ups and demonstrations, we could support through that mechanism as well. We are aware that startups often struggle to demonstrate their technology at scale to cities and government agencies. So if those sort of incentives come through, we'll be happy to play in that space as well. And for Make in India, we do have now a product line of Make in India cameras that just launched this week, which are sourcing local components as well as have the STQC certification for Make in India. So and then our investments are also driving us further towards Make in India. And we will have, in fact, a bigger product line by the end of the year of Make in India products.
Thank you, Sukhbir. We have next question for Ms. Isha. The question is that these AI robotics labs are usually seen in the private schools, and we usually don't see it in government or the municipal schools. So, how you can make it more accessible in the government and the municipal schools, and each and every child is gets the benefit and they are not left behind.
So, Yes, this question is very good. We have definitely initiated with the private schools earlier, but if you can see example of Surat Municipal Corporation, we have just started the AI and robotics lab into the government schools as well, as the vision of Commissioner Madam has fruitfully organized and successfully happened over there. So to truly scale the STEM and innovation learning, we need the strong collaboration with the government bodies like Surat Municipal Corporation and state education boards. So we look support in creating the STEM innovation hubs, integrating the hands-on technology programs into the mainstream education, and empowering the teachers through training and the resources. So by working together only we can establish these AI and robotics labs or the future ready technologies laboratories from urban to rural to urban areas. We are developing and we are creating these AI and robotics lab just with the help of collaboration with the state government and the bodies. So that's the support we are actually needing, and we are also covering up for the same and trying to bridge the gap over there.
And so I think I can also add something here that I think Atal Tinkering Lab also
Yes.
was introduced, and I think government is also taking initiatives in this direction. But I think what can be done is just like earlier few years back when the computer was added as a subject, dedicated subject in the syllabus. Probably AI robotics can also be introduced as one of the dedicated subject in in the curriculum of each and every schools, like for the CBSE board and the
Exactly.
other state boards. So that would actually help to promote AI and robotics. Probably, I think that is probably something which can be done. And
Exactly.
we also
Yeah.
Dr. Shweta Shah from SVNIT has joined back. So welcome, ma'am. And
Thank
I
you.
request you to say a few words about your experience at the Ashine and with the startups, and then probably we'll take up the question.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this opportunity. So myself, Dr. Shweta Shah. I'm associate professor at Department of Electronics Engineering, SVNIT Surat. I have I have an opportunity to serve as Associate Dean Student Welfare as well as the Chairperson for Research and Innovation Council at SVNIT, and I have handled SSIP coordinatorship for almost 3.5 years, which is Student Startup Innovation Policy from Government of Gujarat. The journey for being SSIP coordinator have gave me the experience that how the innovative mind uh, are keen to execute their idea into something as a prototype, or we can say it as a proof of concept. And I would say that the platform of SSIP have definitely given a very very strong platform to these young minds, so that they can contribute to the different product development and research in terms of problem solving skills. This even have experienced students to know about what is called patent or IPR or prototyping or proof of concept, because I have observed before 5 years or 7 years, I would say that students or even many of the people were not even aware about this patent and IPR and prototyping and all. But now this platform of student startup innovation policy have made them aware that how to convert their innovative idea or innovation into a product, and that too carrying their rights that in terms of patenting, design patent and process patent, and there are many variety. But yes, IPR have or patent knowledge have gained a very good attention among the students, and at the UG level even students are keen to have their patents and all. So of course such startup support or that knowledge is very very important for the students, and SSIP is one of the pioneering platform, I would say, that government have provided to the students.
Thank you, Shweta, ma'am. A follow-up question to that is that how can an academia institutes like SVNIT can make the research innovation market ready and make it more impactful, which can be used by the societies?
Yeah, here I would say that, see, academia is nowadays not only for knowledge gathering or a storage to have knowledge. But here, definitely, it is now the seed, which basically plant the seeds of innovation into the students. So academia are nowadays like focusing on more toward practical learning and practical approach, so that student can have a experimental based learning, which is very very important in today's scenario, being in the competitive world and considering the Make in India concept, which is students are very much aware with. So academia is definitely playing a very, very crucial role. And I would say that there are three factors we can say for innovation and startup. Academia, government, and industry has to shake hand in a very systematic way so that we can convert the young mind idea into a productive way with the support of government and the industry. So academia is there to give innovation, support, and mentorship, while government is definitely a capital playing a capital role to provide the funding in terms of like research what we do. But now that research is not related to lab only, it has to bring from lab to market. And industry definitely major component of this ecosystem, where if they shake hand with the academia for the object centric solutions, then that definitely gives support to the students who work in the real life problem and provide or contribute to the nation in solving many practical issues.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. And since we were doing the Q&A from the participants, I think there is one question which pertains to you. So probably I will ask that question directly to you.
Sure.
The question is says that what are the steps which are taken by the education institutes like IITs and NITs to introduce innovation and the knowledge which is required for patenting and all those aspects related to the startups. Is there any provision in the curriculum, or they are still considered as an additional knowledge, say someone needs to acquire?
Okay. So very, very important question, I would say, because many of us or typically from the students are not aware with the what government have served, whether it is from IITs, NITs or other government colleges. See, basically this startup or related IPR or patent related thing, these IITs, NITs or other institutes are basically floating too many advertisement for attending such seminars, workshops, webinars, and for student level they are very very at a very reasonable cost, and some of them are most probably free as well. So that identifying them, understanding that where it is being published. So yes, it is available on their websites, so you should checking that also. If you are aware that government has created some iHubs, or you can say hubs with POCs. So it is something that all IITs are working on certain vertical problems at the government level, while under them the NITs and other institutes are working as POCs. So it's a hierarchical way in terms of vertical and horizontal expansion to support different kinds of problems in terms of startup support. So they have identified different IITs at different expertise levels. So if somebody is working on any typical problem, have to identify that which IIT is basically supporting such problem, or related startups are joined to that particular iHub. Other than that, for the IPR and all, almost all incubation centers, if you see, like as we have at the SVNIT, Shine as one of the Section 8 company, which regularly post many of the information related to these IPR related workshops or courses or webinars, which helps them, even though who are incubated to incubation like a Shine and other centers, they connect the startup people to the required patent attorney, so that they can guide them how to write patent and all. So at every stage, wherever you are finding any problem, these incubation centers are help you out, whether it is in terms of technical, whether it is in terms of IPR rights, whether it is in terms of other designing or management skills. So likewise, these incubation centers are full of resources. So I would say you should approach to the right incubation center because they are there to help you out at extreme level.
Thank you, ma'am. Darshanji, this is the next question for you. It says that Darshanji, is your product a market ready product, and how do you compete with the large big players? So there are two parts.
Yeah, I can show the product also. So I don't know. I think probably I'll have to remove the background. Just a minute. How do I do that? Some issue is there. Anyway, the product is at prototype level right now, and we are testing them at TRL level 4. And that is something a terminology used called technological readiness level. We have two electric vehicles, one in Surat, one in New Delhi. We are testing them on the roads safely right now, and we are trying to be market ready by end of this year, where we'll be creating some 10 paid product trials with the customers. And of course, once they like them, once we receive the customer feedbacks, that matters a lot in the domain. Then we will go for production. So that's the plan. In parallel, we are doing a lot of R&D. So a lot of iterations are going on in terms of printed circuit board designs as well as the software design for electric vehicle, and we are actively trying to innovate in parallel. So yeah, that's where we are. Thank you.
ओके, थैंक यू। एंड हार्दिक भाई, अगला क्वेश्चन आपके लिए है। हार्दिक भाई, क्वेश्चन ये बोल रहा है काफी सारे लोग ग्रीन स्टार्टअप में जुड़ रहे हैं, एग्रीकल्चर के लिए कंपोस्टिंग का काम कर रहे हैं। तो आपका प्रोडक्ट ऐसा क्या डिफरेंशिएट करता है कि मतलब में ये स्टैंड आउट होता है आपका प्रोडक्ट? तो वो चीज मतलब में क्या है, ऐसे पूछ रहे हैं। हार्दिक भाई, योर वॉइस इज नॉट ऑडिबल। आपका वॉइस
हेलो
नहीं आ। यस प्लीज
हेलो
हार्दिक भाई, गो अहेड। हाँ हार्दिक भाई, आप बताइए।
हेलो
यस हार्दिक भाई, आपकी आवाज सुनाई दे रही है, आप बताइए।
हेलो क्या मोबाइल बंद है?
I think there is some issue with Mr. Hardik audio. So I think these are the questions. There are few more questions I'll share with the panelists, and I'll try to get the feedback on the questions which we have received. So thank you everyone. Thank you all our esteemed panelists for your valuable insights. Today's discussion has been reinforced that innovation is thriving across Indian cities. Surat Municipal Corporation will continue to promote collaborative innovations through these SMC's Command and Control Center, open data, and the startup partnerships. Let us all commit to the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat, where every innovation is made in India, designed in India, and built for the India. Thank you and Jai Hind. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining.
Uh, Jai Hind.